Grand Rising, Houston, downtown, midtown, third ward, fifth ward. Those of you listening in the car at 102.5 FM. I am Amanda Sapp here on the Amanda Sapp Morning Show at Amazing 102.5 FM, your do good through good station where we're changing lives one listener at a time. I'm excited to bring to you Mission Possible, to new segment on the Amanda Sapp Morning Show, where each week we spotlight organizations dedicated to social change, sharing their missions, challenges, success stories, and opportunities for community involvement. Through this initiative, we seek to foster collaboration, inspire action, and connect our listeners with organizations that are transforming lives. This next person that I'm bringing to this forefront to you today, I've had an opportunity to watch her work. But before we get into it, I want to share just a little bit about who she is. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right. She's the executive director of Temenos Community Development Corporation. With over 15 years of experience in property management and supportive services, she's a former resident turned leader. She has dedicated her career to advancing affordable housing and homelessness prevention across Texas and Louisiana. She holds a BS in business management and multiple housing certifications, reflecting her expertise and passion for improving underserved communities. She would consider herself hardworking, an advocate for the less fortunate, and a leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto our amazing airwaves, Sandra and Robicheaux. Grand Rising.
Hey, good morning. I'm happy to be here. How are you? Why is you laughing?
I'm so glad to have you in the studio with us today. I know your hair is pulled up in a bun, but I'm going to need you to let your hair down today. You've done some amazing things, especially as it relates to housing and affordability and connecting with people. And I've watched you work here at Temenos and, kind of whip guys into shape. You're doing your thing and you're doing it well. I feel a sense of respect that they hold for you. And it's good to see that in leadership, especially with Black women in leadership. Tell me a little bit about who you are and why does this matter to you so much?
Who I am, actually, I think my bio is very descriptive of that part. I was once a resident of affordable housing, and through the programs and the opportunities set forward for me, I was able to put myself in this position to be a leader. So I like to lead by example. I know that change is possible with affordable housing because I am a product of that environment. So who I am is the person who wants to give back. I want to see 100 me's come forward.
Uh, Someone who is listening may not know what it's like to live in affordable housing. What was it like for you?
Growing up, it was rough. It actually was. It was fun, when we was outside playing, but rough. Not having certain amenities and things of that nature, crime infested environment. So it was rough. It was very rough.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you were able to get yourself out of that.
I pivot because I knew growing up, at that time it kind of like was what it was. However, I knew that's not where I want to be. So I just made the necessary adjustments to move myself forward.
Now, tell me a little bit about Temenos CDC and how it addresses the unique challenges faced by low income and homeless individuals in securing stable housing.
So Temenos CDC, we collaborate with the Homeless Coalition through the Way Home program, right? So we advocate through chronic homelessness individuals. So we have the housing units available for to move them in, but we also we don't just move them in affordable housing. We stay as a supportive partner with wraparound services like providing case management, job assistance, life skills training. One of the programs we just implemented is that once a month we do cooking segments, meaning that we're teaching the residents how to cook for themselves, how to get the best bang for the buck with food. Like we have secondhand, they come out and they donate food once a month. And so shortly after, maybe 1 or 2 days after, then we'll have our cooking lessons so they can best utilize the food packages that they gave them.
I love that.
Yeah, some of us are not used to eating healthy. So the training that we do is also formed around eating healthy, making best use of vegetables. Like me growing up, all I wanted was candy, chips, soda, things of that nature. So we're trying to train them to eat healthy as well.
What is the difference between what is a chronically homeless individual and what challenges do you face at Temenos CDC having that?
Chronic homelessness
population?
means that they have been unhoused for over a year. being downtown Houston, coming to work every day, you see some of those residents sleeping on the street. So, say for instance, we once they go into a program such as the Beacon, then they'll register them, and then they kind of like keep up with them till they found housing. So, some of these individuals, that it could have been anything. It could have been a loss of job. It could have been a mental breakdown. They don't necessarily have family support. Some of them do, some of them don't. But we're just that extra stepping stone to get them into the right place and just help them take their life to another level. Kind of
Yeah.
like the hope.
Mhm.
So giving them hope.
Mhm. How does it make you feel?
Um, Initially, it sometimes it's sad to see certain cases, but it's an amazing feeling once you see those cases turn around. It makes me feel whole because I feel like I'm giving back because somebody again had to pour into me.
Mhm. Now, we just touched a little bit on your personal journey and how you were living in affordable housing and now not,
Hmm.
and the joy and fulfillment that you have seeing your residents be able to get into home housing and then
And prosper.
and prosper and
Hmm.
thrive. Can you talk about more of the programs that you offer at Temenos CDC? I know you mentioned some of the food or cooking classes. Can you talk about some of the other programs that you offer as wraparound services?
There's a lot. We have like job skills assessments. We currently just started working with TWC, and so we're in the process of getting them to sponsor some internships where we can have interns come in to to actually get into the field, right? So we want those interns to come in to get into the field. I feel like the industry is needing more people, right?
Hmm.
People who hope, pray, and want to give back. And so I feel like that's a way for us to do that with the residents. We have we have the food insecurity. So there's a lot of food insecurity programs. We have different companies, different organizations that come out. We do feed them like 7 days a week. We have potting classes where we teaching them how to actually grow their own vegetables. And then what else we have? And then we have resume writing training. We have interview job training. So there's a lot of programs. They're all self sufficient skills.
Um, you talk about the lack of
Mhm.
um, people who want to get a job in this field.
Yes.
Why is that so? What is it? What is it that we don't know, or that you know that is not really happening in the housing industry that should be happening? The type of people that should be applying. Why should people want to get in this industry?
First you gotta wanna help. I believe that it's just to me, the younger generation is not so much interested into it. They don't know the details and the benefits, and
Maybe they don't know what type of jobs
it
there actually are in this
and
field.
there are a lot. It's the stigma of affordable housing, but affordable housing for me has been a great career. Not just for myself. My sister does something similar to what I do. I have two nieces, and my son also works in the affordable housing. He works at a hotel chain now, but just looking at the younger generation, they're not very knowledgeable about the benefits and how rewarding the career can be. So I don't think there's enough avocation for it.
And you'd like to change that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't think there was a lot of opportunities in it. When I was offered a position, I was kind of nervous about it, right? Being growing up in it. But once I got into it, I started thriving very fastly because it was like, okay, I didn't know the program, but being experienced from the program, it was like a cakewalk. I walked in there and I was like, okay. And then I got excited about it. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a school teacher, right?
Mm.
So that changed very quickly. Hmm.
Yeah, I think God has it's so funny that way because you may not be teaching a young or a class of students,
Hmm.
but you are teaching what it is to be a leader with where you are. So I think in some way that you are still an educator.
Yeah, you look at it like that, then yeah, I guess so. But the affordable housing was not my first choice, but I felt like it was my destined career path.
Mm,
I feel like that. Hmm.
mhm. Why are you so sure?
Why I'm so sure?
Yeah.
Because when they say what's the old saying, like when you if you don't feel like it's work, then that's your calling. I don't. Sometimes I do, but
Mhm.
most of the time I don't feel like it's work. I feel like it's my calling. I feel like that I've been successful in so many avenues with affordable housing. It comes like second nature, and when you don't have to work extra hard to prove yourself, you're just doing what you love. Then that's why I feel like I'm destined for it.
Love that. Now, what are some of the biggest barriers to expanding, excuse me, affordable housing in Houston, expanding affordable housing in Houston? And how can the community help overcome them?
Some of the primary barrier is funding, community involvement, donations. There's never enough, right? No matter what the program is currently, Temenos is a nonprofit organization. So we do have government funding, which is definitely a blessing, but there are also things that those fundings do not cover. So then we have to raise money, and if the community is not involved, actively giving, actively volunteering, then it just becomes a little harder. We make it happen, but we could do so much more with more community involvement and additional funding sources. And then the next one would be for me making sure the right politicians are in the right place. Um, Cutting out the program is not the answer. The answer is getting more involved, understanding what changes you're making and how it's affecting people. One of the reasons why I feel like I'm a good advocate because I've been through affordable housing. I've followed that chain, and if you have not actually lived in the community or actively participated in some of the activities or contributed to the success of moving people forward, then you will never understand.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Um, we do have to wrap this interview up, but I do want to know at Temenos CDC, what do you want? What do you need? What is going to help you? I know what we're talking about in Houston overall, but specifically Temenos CDC, you're the executive director there. What do you want people to do for this particular organization?
Basically back to the barriers.
Mhm.
I need people to get involved. I need people to donate. I need people to volunteer, and I need the community to continue to advocate for affordable housing.
Mhm. Mhm. Really appreciate that. Now, we'd like to leave our fans, our followers, listeners, and supporters with something inspiring, something empowering, something they can take with them the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend, all the way up to the weekend. Sandra Robicheaux, Executive Director of Temenos CDC, what would you like to leave us with today?
I would like to leave the community with that it takes a village, right? And so I've always heard that all my life. And so I would pass that message on. It takes a village to raise a child. So it takes a village to raise the community. It takes everyone to participate and make sure that putting our best efforts forward.
Mhm. And how do we find you?
You can find me at, what do you mean?
Yeah, how do we find Temenos CDC?
Oh, you talking me outside. You can visit our website or you can visit our website, temenocdc.org, and you can donate. There's an information button there. If you want more information, just put a request in or you can follow our newsletter.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Robicheaux, she's executive director of Temenos CDC, and she has just been a guest of Mission Possible, our new segment here on the Amanda Sapp Morning Show, where we invite executive directors, leaders of organizations who are truly making a difference to share their story, their impact, their challenges, and how they've overcome them. We really appreciate you for being our guest here today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Hey guys, stay tapped in, stay tuned in, stay amazing.